All right. Good day, everyone. I am Nicole Jackson, Director of Education with Center for Engagement, Environmental Justice, and Health. Thank you for joining us this morning for Evelyn Kelly's final assignment presentation. Started in 2023, the Climate Justice Fellows Program is a virtual implementation and training program designed to educate individuals on the essential themes and tenets of environmental and climate justice. Candidates demonstrate a commitment to EJ issues and have a deep connection to frontline and fence line communities. Fellows increase their awareness of environmental and climate issues, as well as develop skills to empower their own communities affected by environmental injustices. The fellowship program consists of individuals who progress through an intense curriculum of 10 to 13 targeted modules and a capstone project addressing environmental and climate justice challenges, with senior fellows selected from previous cohorts expanding their projects, delivering presentations, conducting research, writing, and/or working closely with CEEJH Inc. staff. Having formerly served as a fellow in the first cohort and senior fellow in the second cohort, I am proud to have worked this year to have redesigned the program to be more practical as well as global oriented, and we also included a few new modules. As a core part of the approach we took this year, everything was centered on real world applications that we at CEEJH like to call empowerment science frameworks. And that's empowerment, spelled INPOWERMENT. So we like to say empowerment science includes community-based participatory research, citizen science, community-owned and managed research principles, and the collaborative problem-solving model, with a focus on equitable planning, healthy zoning, and sustainable community development. Throughout the program, our fellows engage with assignments rooted in actual case studies, and were consistently encouraged to adapt and tailor the work to specific needs of the and within the context of their own communities. This philosophy helped us culminate in what we are sharing with you today, with the final assignments that you'll see shared. And in a significant shift from previous years, we challenged fellows to proactively propose and develop their own initiatives, moving beyond the traditional capstone project. And we wanted fellows to understand that learning wasn't just theoretical. We wanted them to roll up their sleeves and be able to work on things or share projects or assignment that directly aligned with either some of the work that they're doing or the work within that they are participating in within their communities. And we also wanted them to roll up their sleeves and work alongside CEEJH staff to do more technical related work. And the work that many of the fellows have done range from policy analysis and air quality monitoring to also helping to develop educational content for our annual symposium. So the practice-based model that we implemented this year made the first time that we expanded our cohort across the globe, actually. So this year we were proud to actually welcome fellows from across 16 different countries. And having such diversity help us to enrich our discussions, broaden our understanding of how, we're all connected and how environmental impacts affect our communities in different ways, but are still interconnected. So we were able to see those similarities within our communities across the globe. So if anyone here is interested in applying for next year's cohort, please contact us at fellows@ceej.org. That's fellows@CEEJH.org. Applications will open this month, and we'll be sure to forward an application to you. We'll also have 2 information sessions, one on November 10th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, and one on December 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the presentation you're about to see today is a testament to Miss Evelyn's dedication, creativity, um, and her global perspective should she choose to provide it. Please, I'm going to ask to keep your questions for Evelyn until the end, but feel free to put any questions you have in the chat or the Q&A box. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Evelyn. Evelyn is a public health professional working at the intersection of science, public policy, and advocacy. She has over 25 years of experience improving the living conditions that affect the health of communities such as food, education, healthcare, and the environment, with a focus on equity and racial justice. Ms. Kelly currently serves as the Director of Strategic Initiatives at the Institute for Public Health Innovation in Washington, D.C. She collaborates with a variety of stakeholders to implement policy, systems, and environmental changes aimed at improving the quality of life of the communities across the region. During her tenure at IPHI, she has worked with a coalition to secure passage of legislation to raise the tobacco sales age to age 21, co-founded a local food policy council, and developed Maryland's first food charter, outlining policy recommendations to improve the food system. Currently, she is working to advance environmental justice through interconnection between the food system and climate change. She earned her bachelor's of Science in Health Promotion from American University and a Master of Public Health from University of South Carolina. Ms. Kelly was born in Washington, D.C., and currently resides in Harrodsville, Maryland. In her spare time, she enjoys connecting with nature, traveling around the world to enjoy opera, and paddleboarding on the Chesapeake Bay. Please help me welcome our fellow Evelyn Kelly.
Good morning. Thank you, Nicole, for that introduction. So again, my name is Evelyn Kelly, and I'm excited to present to you my final project as a Climate Justice Fellow. For the past 12 years with the Institute for Public Health Innovation and the Prince George's County Food Equity Council, I've worked to improve local food systems through a variety of initiatives, such as partnering with food system stakeholders to develop Maryland's first food charter and working with the Prince George's County Council to facilitate the development of food security task force recommendations. So today I will provide an overview of an ongoing project that I have been a part of as a workgroup member and technical assistance provider to support the development of a new food bank to increase access to healthy food in Prince George's County. So I'd like to begin today by providing data on food insecurity, which is defined as when people don't have enough to eat or don't know where their next meal will come from. According to a 2019 Environmental Justice Commission report, food insecurity and access to fresh food have been identified as an environmental justice issue in Prince George's County. So according to a Maryland National Park and Planning Commission study, residents have difficulty accessing quality, nutritious, affordable, and culturally appropriate food. And this is compounded by the fact that the county has the highest rate of food insecurity in the region at 49%. Now, this issue has been exacerbated by the recent federal layoff, cuts to SNAP, and rising food cost, as well as high cost of living. Unfortunately, this has resulted in many residents to depend on food pantries to receive groceries to feed their families. So in order to address food insecurity and increase sustainable access to nutritious food, the Greater Riverdale Feasibility Assessment Workgroup, which includes members from the Greater Riverdale Thrives Community Coalition, was formed. Now, the work group has been working over the past 6 months with a consultant to conduct a feasibility study and develop a comprehensive business plan for the establishment of a new food bank in Prince George's County. The assessment is funded through county funding, championed by Councilman Eric Olson, representing District 3. And throughout this period, I have been serving as a member of the work group. I have provided technical assistance to this effort by developing an RFP process that engaged community stakeholders to identify a consultant who is currently conducting the feasibility study for this food bank. So one of the ways to readily meet the needs of residents facing food insecurity has been through the distribution of food at pantries. And one of the greatest challenges faced by food pantries to distribute perishable items such as fresh fruits and vegetables is the lack of cold storage capacity. So as a result, the work group seeks to establish a new food bank to recover, store, and distribute food to pantries for distribution. I believe one of the unique aspects of this proposed food bank is that it will focus on recovery and distribution of nutritious food, specifically fresh fruits and vegetables, which has been cited as a salient need by local studies. So members of the work group currently receive donations of fresh fruits and vegetables that would otherwise be thrown away. And the donated food is then delivered to local pantries in the county. Unfortunately, at this time, members of the work group are unable to receive additional donations because of lack of cold storage space. So as part of my project, I have developed the following recommendations for consideration as the food bank model is being developed. These recommendations were informed by local academic research, local government plans, such as the county's climate action plan, the Maryland Food Charter, and the Food Security Task Force recommendations by the County Council, just to name a few. So these recommendations focus on not only reducing potential environmental impacts from the food bank operations, but also on health equity. So they do range from incorporating composting as part of the food bank operations and purchasing an EV vehicle to offering culturally appropriate fruits and vegetables. To the food bank also serving as a hub during emergencies and a potential distributor for food as medicine interventions. So I did review the recommendations with the work group and they are in support of them. I will note that the majority of recommendations focus on leveraging partners and leveraging existing resources to avoid duplication of efforts. I would also like to note that at this time, I will not be discussing a potential grant proposal budget, as I do need to further discuss with the work group to develop a viable budget that complements the ongoing work of the consultant conducting the actual feasibility study. So in terms of community engagement, we are working with the feasibility study consultant to gather input through various methods, including focus groups, one-on-one interviews, and surveys. These will go through the end of the year with the final report and business plan being scheduled to be completed by March of 2026. In addition, using a community engagement toolkit I developed with my colleagues, I will be facilitating a discussion on how to think through steps needed to engage the community and recruit them to participate in our respective effort. So this is beyond the focus groups and one-on-one interviews and surveys that we are conducting. And this could complement the discussion being facilitated by the consultant to design a governance and decision-making model, as this has not been discussed or designed yet. Potential models of governance that have been brought up include a private-public partnership, a coalition-governed model, and a 501c3 model with a community advisory board. I should also note that the members of the work group are all faith-based. Now, using the toolkit, I plan to walk through the different models of engagement, ranging from co-opted, where community representatives are given a seat at the table but do not have power and influence, to collective action, where community members have sole decision-making power and control resources. And again, this is just an example of what's included in that toolkit and what are the various models that will be discussed. So overall, my goal is to discuss ways our work group can ensure residents, especially those with lived experience of food insecurity, have a meaningful voice and participation in the food bank leadership and have input regarding priorities and strategic direction. So I know there's a lot going on in this chart, but it does outline some of the proposed metrics at this time, since the square footage and cold storage capacity is still being defined. I created some proposed metrics based on a food bank with 10,000 square foot of storage. Now, these metrics do range from the number of families being served and the pounds of fruits and vegetables distributed to the amount of food rescued and food diverted to compost. I was really excited to use the Refed impact calculator, which features a built-in formula to quantify greenhouse gas emissions reductions. And it really looks at this through water savings and donated meal recovery potential to calculate the impact. So I thought this was a very impactful tool and certainly highly recommend it. So in conclusion, food insecurity, or the lack of access to enough nutritious food, can have serious consequences on people's health and well-being. And currently, many residents, including those who have never visited a food bank before, find themselves in need and are facing challenges feeding their families. Food insecurity is a systemic issue that can happen to anyone, and the development of the proposed new bank is one strategy that can be implemented to increase access to healthy food, specifically fruits and vegetables. The food bank also provides an opportunity to mitigate food waste and reduce greenhouse gas emissions through a variety of proposed green strategies. By increasing sustainable access to nutritious food, we can enhance the overall well-being of families in Prince George's County. And I'm truly excited to be part of a proposed food bank that has the potential to serve as a community resilience hub that addresses the intersection of food justice, climate justice, and health equity. So I do want to take a moment to thank the CEEJH staff for an amazing fellowship experience, particularly Nicole Jackson, our sensei. I have certainly learned so much and I've appreciated this experience, and I'm also inspired by the work of current fellows and look forward to collaborating with them in future efforts.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. I enjoyed reading through your assignment and enjoyed the presentation. Before I ask any questions, I'm just going to open it up to our guests to see if our guests have any questions for you. Yes, Dr. McHale.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay. I was wondering whether inside of Maryland or outside, is there any program that exists now that you think is doing it right, that is an ideal model for food to help against food insecurity and for food justice?
Yeah, so thank you for your question. I did research food bank models because, again, this is just one strategy to increase access to healthy food. And I did find one model in California. Again, I didn't look extensively, but I did find one that offered some green strategies that I'm proposing, such as the EV vehicle, the composting, the solar panels, etc. And they do tout themselves as the first green bank in the country. And I do think we have some excellent models here in the region of Maryland, DC, and Virginia. I haven't found a food bank specifically, and I think every food bank has different models. And that's what we're specifically going to be about, is really, one, given the high need of food insecurity, but also need for fresh fruits and vegetables, our aim is to be able to serve and distribute only fresh fruits and vegetables. So I think that's something that is unique. I would say other aspects that we're looking into, perhaps there are other food banks around the country that offer it. And then also we are looking into some innovative ways to also serve as a resilience hub during times of an emergency. So for example, when an emergency happens and FEMA or Red Cross or other entities come into a local area, they actually bring food or recover food from usually national producers, which may have local produce. But one of the things that we are looking at is actually being able to use local producers to provide food during those times of emergency, so that we aren't leaving out our local farmers who have produce readily available that could be used and are missing out on potential opportunities to provide that. And then I mentioned a couple of other recommendations that we're looking at, which many food banks, well, not many, but there are quite a number across the country that are incorporating food as medicine. And so we're also looking at that. We're also looking at providing potential cold storage capacity for local farmers is also an option. So really, at the end of the day, we're really trying to be responsive to the unique needs here in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Thank you for such a thorough answer, Evelyn. Oh, Antonio has a question. Oh, he was going to ask a similar question. He's worked with an org food recovery network in the past. Do you have any thoughts on the model? So they focus a lot on food recovery from school campuses. Do you have any thoughts on that model? This question is from Antonio.
So one of the partners as part of the stakeholder, rather the work group, they actually source their donated food from national producers. And we're talking about pallets of food. And unfortunately, we can't even receive. That's why we're proposing the food bank, is because there isn't enough cold storage space to get the food out to local food pantries. So definitely it could be an option. I think at the end of the day, we want, given the capacity of the food bank, I think the idea is to focus on large scale food donations rather than smaller. But with that said, I think we're certainly open. Again, it's still being designed, the model's still being designed. And I think that's definitely still an option to work with, for example, schools, to recover food, which we also know, and I had the opportunity to work actually on a report here in Prince George's County. We know schools also, there's a huge need for food recovery there as well.
Thank you for that. And I did hear you say you're not going to talk about budget. I don't want you to talk about the specifics of the budget, but I did want to ask a particular question about something you shared and a little more in depth from your presentation and your assignment. So the integration of solar panel and EV fleet, that's very it's an aggressive vision, especially given the cost and, capital investment involved. Have you thought about or talked about with your partners at all about a strategy for um, providing the funding to support those components?
Yes, great question. So that was their reaction as well. But I'm surrounded by pastors, and so we got to put faith in everything. And also we have to start with a vision, and we can't get something that we don't ask for. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be looking heavily for partnerships. So I did look when I was looking into EV vehicles, specifically cold storage vehicles. I did find Whole Foods has actually been a donator of EV vehicles. 2 food banks. So we have one here in the county. So we certainly will be reaching out. And I think truly there are a number of possibilities out there. But obviously we're going to have to fundraise and also thinking about here in the county, what are some possibilities? It is embedded in the climate action plan of the county that they want to support commercial entities in providing them with resources to support solar panels. So we are certainly all open to hear what types of resources are offered. And also I will say that at one point, just actually last year, EPA announced this amazing grant opportunity that I think this would have been a perfect opportunity that really allowed funding for this type of work, like dream big. I mean, people were asking for like $25 million. It was an amazing opportunity, and I wish, we would have had more time to be in aligned with that. So I really think we're going to keep open to the possibility of funding opportunities to support this type of work.
Thank you. Let me see if there are any more questions before I ask a second question. Any more questions for Evelyn? Yeah, go ahead, Dr. McHale. And is it Michael or Mikhail?
It's Mikhail Michael. So
Mikhail
you're
Michael.
right both times.
Okay, thank you.
So I always feel like human dignity is part of justice. And what do you think about grocery store models like the one they're opening up in Canada, where it's like an actual grocery store, but it's a food bank, and you can shop just like you do at a regular grocery store and get up to $200 worth of food, but you get to pick what you want. Um, what do you think about ensuring that there's more human dignity added to the element of people going to food banks?
Yeah, so great question. I think one clarification is we're going to be a food bank that distributes food to food pantries that are then responsible for distributing food. So we're not going to be distributing food um, directly to residents. We are the proposed intermediary to receive food, sort food, and then get it out and deliver it to the local food pantries, which could incorporate schools, anyone who is able to distribute food to communities. So that's really what our focus is at this time with the need for cold storage capacity. We want to be able to recover food, get it quickly to our cold storage space, and then quickly be able to distribute it throughout the county to food pantries. But I will say, yes, those are definitely innovative and great models, and I believe highly in allowing families to be able to choose. And I think every food pantry that actually distributes groceries have their own models. And particularly here in the county, you have many that are drive-through. So again, just because of the logistical aspect, it can be a little bit challenging. But I have seen others where, particularly where they have the space, like in schools, it's kind of like a grocery store. They have food out and even vans out where people can just walk through and actually shop as if it were a grocery store. So yes, I definitely think those models are amazing, and I think are worth expanding to allow residents to have that choice of foods that they select. And also I think it can reduce food waste because, families are selecting foods that they actually believe that they will use rather than just getting a bag of items that they may not know how to prepare. But that's going to have to be another presentation for another day. But there's a lot that goes into it, but certainly a potential great model to expand.
Thank you, Evelyn. Excellent question. And then I have one question for you. I would love for you to elaborate on something you shared in your assignment, but didn't go into much detail in the presentation. So I love how you connected the proposed County Bill 067/2025. And for those of you that don't know, we have a bill here in Prince George's County that was recently introduced as called the Food as Medicine Bill, which I think is great. So, Evelyn, my question for you is like, what do you see as some of the biggest operational challenges in becoming a distributor for healthcare providers, and how would the working group go about, do you think, addressing um, the things that are laid out within that bill? And just to provide a little clarity, I'm not sure if you are familiar with the program that they have in Washington, D.C. that's similar to that, where individuals of a certain income or have certain health issues, they can take a little card. It's like a prescription card, and they can go to different retailers that have chosen to participate, or even food banks, to get fresh fruits and vegetables or different things prescribed to them as needed for their health or their illnesses.
Yeah, so great question. Actually, the Prince George's County Food Equity Council has piloted the first food as medicine intervention or program here in Prince George's County. And so there are so many different models of food as medicine. And so it really depends on what type of model is designed for this effort. I do know what is being proposed is that the food source, they want to focus on farmers, local producers to source the food that would then be distributed to patients at healthcare institutions. I think one of the greatest challenges that we ran into with the food as medicine, which was called PG Fresh, Prince George's County Fresh, um, was access, meeting, for example, in our pilot, we were able to partner with Giant Food and clinics here in Prince George's County, and patients with diabetes, chronic disease conditions were given vouchers for to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables at Giant Food. So they had to be near a Giant to participate. And so we know that's not the case for everyone, right? Everyone has their preferred provider for where they shop for groceries. There are some people who couldn't even get to the grocery store. So we have to realize that there may be challenges even for residents to get to the grocery store who may not have transportation. So I think the first challenge that I'm seeing with this potentially could be is how are we going to get the food from local farmers and producers to the residents or the patients? And so this is where the proposed food bank could serve again as a potential intermediary where local producers or farmers could deliver fresh fruits and vegetables to the food bank. And then from the food bank, they are distributed either to, again, depending on what model is designed, to the clinics that will then distribute it, or looking at specific sites for pickup where the patients will be picking up the food. So I do think this is something that needs to be looked into. I think that's going to be a big question, is understanding where is the best way to get the food to these patients. Now, there have been some models where, for example, at one point, Children's Hospital was looking at incorporating a food bank within their office, like actually having one there. The problem is, again, cold capacity. We don't want things to go bad. So it could be something where fresh fruits and vegetables are delivered the day of, and they're quickly rolled out to patients who have appointments that day. So as you can see, there's going to have to be a lot of coordination and, this thought through a bit more. So I do think that is going to be the greatest challenge, is making sure the fresh fruits and vegetables that are sourced stay fresh fruit and vegetables and of high quality. We don't want to be distributing food that is not still good to distribute. and then getting it quickly to the actual patients who need it.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. Any follow-up questions for Evelyn? Now, Tashir, I know you work in the food justice space, so any questions you have for Evelyn? All right, so no more questions. So thank you so much,
Sorry, I didn't hear
Evelyn.
what you said.
Oh, no. I was saying I know that you typically work in the food justice space, so I was just curious before we end if you had any questions for Evelyn specifically.
No, actually, it was a thorough presentation and I truly enjoyed it. And got to learn some things as well. I just opened up the link to the model in Canada, which is I just shared it on my Facebook page because that's, a model to be replicated. But no, not, I thought it was very thorough. And thank you. I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Evelyn. I really appreciate it, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed having you in our program this year, and I hope that you are looking to join us as a senior fellow next year if you have the capacity. I know that you do so much. But I did want to remind everybody, um, again, our applications are opening this month. So when we send that out, if you're not interested, please do share it with someone that you know may be interested. And look forward to possibly having you join us back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have 3 fellows presenting tomorrow. Excuse me, we'll have Deanna from Michigan, Mia from Tennessee, and Joan from Kenya. So hopefully you can join us at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow for our next set of presentations. All right.
All right.